Welcome to today's edition of How the Game Was Won. Today we're at the 10th Tal Memorial in 2016 for the second round game between Gelfand and Giri. This specific game played on the 27th of September 2016. So without further ado, let's roll through the opening. We've got d4, knight f6, c4, g6, g3, bishop g7, bishop g2, castle short. Obviously playing the king's Indian, as the next move protects d5. Giri is certainly more known for his play in the Grunfeld. Knight c3, knight c6. And actually this move sort of transposes back into normal type of Grunfeld lines. Continuing with e3. Making sure to avoid Giri playing d4 at all costs. d6, knight g to e2, e5 castles, e takes on d4, e takes on d4, knight e7, which is a bit of an unusual move in a well-known position. Most of the time black plays for the bishop f5, rook e7 plan, fighting for control of the e4 square. Bishop f4, knight f5, queen c1, rook e8, h3, c6, g4, knight e7, bishop h6, d5, c5. Normally it seems foolish to play with an isolated pawn, so Gelfand grabs the space on the queen side the moment he has the opportunity. b6, c takes on b6, a takes on b6, rook e1, bishop a8, queen f4, knight d7, queen d2, knight f8, knight f4, knight e6, rook c to e2, c5. It looks like this break can't be played because it loses the d5 pawn, but Giri has decided that the activity is fully worth the pawn that he's giving up, and it turns out to be an excellent decision indeed. D takes c5, b takes c5, knight takes d5. In this position, knight c3 for argument's sake could have probably been better, but it's hard to resist grabbing the pawn. For instance, rook a6 is a idea that my computer came up with rook d6 comes soon afterwards in many variations. But Gelfand played knight takes d5, which then led to bishop b7, and the activity is based on a Benko style pressure against the b and a pawns and the potential weakness of the white king. Knight e to c3, knight takes on d5, knight takes on d5, bishop d4. Obviously having the d4 square for the bishop is a really useful place for that bishop to be in, and it's not easily going to get dislodged from that square at all, which gives it a really strong diagonal down towards the king on g1. Knight c3, bishop takes on g2, king takes on g2, g5, h4, g takes h4. The pawn sitting on h4 at the moment is actually rather powerful, as it aids the attack against the white king. Knight e4, queen d5, f3, rook a to d8, rook a to d1, king h8, bishop g5, and f5, which is an excellent move in this position, keeping up the pressure against the white king's position. Bishop takes d8, rook takes on d8. Black has sacrificed a full exchange, but it's not easy to defend the knight that's sitting on e4. And as a result, in this position, Gelfand should have played something along the lines of 34 queen h6 with f4, rook takes on e4, h3 check. It's messy and this is messy and should favor black. The other option would have been, for instance, knight g5, h3 check, king h2, bishop e5 check, king h1, queen takes on d2, rook takes on d2, rook takes on d2, knight e6, bishop g3, and looks like a very bad endgame for white, if not completely lost. But in the position itself, in the original position on the board, instead of all of those options, Gelfand went g takes f5, and that just loses instantly. Queen takes on f5, king h1, rook g8, and white is absolutely defenseless against the really simple threats of rook f1 and bishop e5 covering h2, and white cannot do anything against the shortly coming queen h3 mate. And although technically the Gelfand flagged and lost the game on time, as you can see here, with that queen h3 mate looming in the very near future, there's absolutely nothing that that Gelfand can do against that whatsoever, and that was the end of the game. So that, my friends, is how the game was won. Be sure to like and share this video. Post any comments, questions, criticisms that you may have in the comment section down below. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and last but by no means least, remember, stay carved up for the win. I'll see you next time. Cheers.